to their screams. Greetings, ghouls and creeps, and welcome to Listen to Their Screams, a horror podcast. I am one of your hosts, Dave, and I am joined, as always, by the other host, Ike. Ike, how are you?
Oh man, that's all I gotta say. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, sometimes that's just the way it goes. I've had a very busy week, so, I'm like, oh man, it's like days like this, I just wish I could drink at work. But if anybody's listening from my work, I do not drink at work, though. I just want that officially on the record in case anybody, I don't know who at my work would be listening to this, but if you are, hey, that's cool. But I don't drink at work. So anyway, yeah, I'm a little frazzled here. I'm just I had a hectic week. It's time to sit back though, and let's talk some horror movies. Like I said, it's been a crazy week. I haven't done a whole lot. I haven't done well, at least spooky wise, right? We've well, I mean, if you want to call it spooky, I know it's early November and we've got up the majority of our Christmas decorations. Some people think we were absolutely crazy, but that's just the way it goes. We want a holiday up all the time here in this house. So, and I don't fully let go of Halloween, but when it's time that we can put the Christmas stuff, because what are you going to decorate for Thanksgiving? I have a couple of pilgrim figures, but it's like, what am I going to do with that? It's like you don't put a bunch of shit out for Halloween or for Thanksgiving. I mean, so
Fair.
so I haven't really, it's just been kind of the same old this week. Ike, what have you been up to? Anything going on?
Yeah, this last weekend I didn't really do too much in terms of like real spooky stuff. You know, uh, I'm really trying to think if I did anything spooky. I really don't think I did. Especially since we're winding down from October. Not a whole lot of spooky stuff is out there. I did watch a couple of movies, and it's
Yeah.
all rewatches just because I that's what I do. Um, I went and rewatched what was it, Texas Chainsaw. After we watched the Sawyer Family Massacre, I
Yeah,
had a
yeah.
hanker to rewatch Texas Chainsaw. Um, and I really enjoyed the Leatherface movie that they made. There's like a remake, or no, I think that was the
Yeah, it's more kind of a continuation, and it's supposed to be like a years later type thing, right?
yeah. It's kind of a continuation type deal, and it was pretty solid. I hadn't
Is that
watched it in
the
a while.
is that the one where the developers where they like buy the town and are trying to get the invest? Is that one, or is that a different movie? No. That's the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre, isn't it?
Yeah. That's the new one. The
What's
one that yeah,
what's Leatherface?
Leatherface is the one where it's got, oh God, what is her name? So basically, it's like this girl. She gets a call that her like aunt died and that her aunt left her something.
Oh yeah.
Um, and she goes to the house and wait, no, that's not Leatherface. Well, that's the one I watched. Leatherface is the origin, where the teenage Leatherface escapes from the insane asylum.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
so then I watched. What the hell did I watch?
I don't know what you watched either.
Well, whatever it was just Texas Chainsaw. It's called Texas Chainsaw from 2013.
Yeah,
Good
okay.
lord. You would think that they would have better names for these, I swear. It's one of the
What
worst things about Texas
man?
Chainsaw.
Yeah, whatever happened to the good old days of numbering shit, man? I mean, I mean, like me, like I finished my rewatch of Friday the 13th, right? Recently,
Right.
I watched all the Halloween movies, watched all the Nightmare movies. Now I just finished Friday. Man, for the most part, you know how to watch those things because they're numbered, right? They're just in order. It's nice and easy. I miss the 80s and in the 90s when it's the simplicity of just the numbering. It's just we need to bring that back, man. It's like every time they reboot or you do that jump skip continuation thing they just like Halloween and then they do another Halloween. I was like, what? What? I mean, put something in there to differentiate a subtitle or something. And
No, amen to that. That's what I was gonna say. One of the worst things about Texas Chainsaw, other than just the absolutely confusing timelines that they have going on, it's
yeah,
just, oh man, the freaking the numbering, like just trying to figure out what you're watching, and not to mention you have all these different spin-offs and stuff. But I mean, I could complain about pretty much every horror series with that.
yeah.
Um, but no, yeah, I just watched Texas Chainsaw. Like you said, it's a continuation of the original film. Takes place in the future. Has Alexandra Daddario in it, who's pretty famous. She was like in Baywatch and Percy Jackson. Um, the new Baywatch, I should say, not the old one. But yeah, it was pretty good though. I enjoyed it. It was one of those movies. You watch it and you're like, okay, this isn't too bad. I could watch this and it it doesn't make me want to vomit like
Yeah,
Halloween
yeah.
does.
Well, after I there it is. Now, I see. I have like a news clip. Like we said we were gonna try to work Halloween ends into every episode. You just dropped it. I'm gonna drop it in the news later too. So yeah, we're continuing the streak here. But yeah, after I finished watching the Friday 13th, I went and rewatched the four Hatchet movies. The
Oh yeah.
Hatchets went through 1 to 3, and then Victor Crowley. And I forgot, man, those are like really compact, short, quick watches. I think I mean I don't even know if they're an hour and a half a piece. I mean I plowed right through those four, and I like them. They're very throwback to me. And I mean Crowley's just ripping heads open and tearing people's arms off and stuff. And it's great. It's fun stuff. And but yeah, so that's what I watched. And yeah, it was I don't know what I'm gonna go to next. Well, me and my wife we've been rewatching the Scream movies. We're watching that, but that's a little slow moving because, like I said, we're watching that together. So it's like I can't just sit and watch those like I do. So I'm not sure what I'm going to dive into personally next, but I'll figure something out and I'll report it to the world because I'm sure the whole world sits on the edge of their seat wanting to know what Dave is watching.
Tantalating waiting.
Yeah. But you know what is tantalating, Ike? We're going to play a game. We're going to play our top three. Top three. All right, and this week on our top three, we're going to play our top three favorite Friday the 13th Jason masks. And man, we had a whole slew of ideas here, and this was one of them that jumped. And I thought, man, this is fun, and it kind of spun on me rewatching the Friday the 13th series. And I thought, and I know there's not some of them, there's not a whole lot of difference, but when you really look at them, there's little tweaks and stuff. But Ike, you got your top three Jason masks?
I sure do.
I do as well. So let's go 3-1. I'll start. I'll start this week. You started last time, I think. I don't know what. Anyway, I'll start. My number three favorite Jason mask is from Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. It's kind of a pretty standard definitive mask. It's still got the axe cut. It's just a very cool looking. And I'm very partial. Man, I don't know what it is about Jason Takes Manhattan. I know a lot of people dish on that movie. I love it. I think it's fun. And I think it's unique. And I like it. So that's my number three from Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. Ike, what's your number three?
My number three, and this one's probably a pretty popular one. It's the bag mask Jason from Part 2. Just something about the simple, very it's just like you look at it and you're like, is this person a bad person? And then you get stabbed through the chest. You're like, maybe they're just ugly. But yeah, the back-faced Jason with the one eye hole cut out of it. Definitely a good time.
Yep, that is my number two, was the bag. So there you go. The transition from your three to my two. My two is I don't know. I know a lot of people, they obviously you think Jason, you think hockey mask, but your first look at him is with the bag, and it's, again, you're right, dead on. It's something about the one eye hole. I don't know what that is, because you just know what the fuck's going on with this guy. Why has he only got one eye hole here? If it was just two, it almost probably would look goofy a little bit, or goofier. But with the one, you're like, well, what's going on under this mask or this bag where there's only one eye hole? And maybe I like the mask so much because he's like wearing like overalls and shit too, and it's just the whole deal. But that is, that's our first look at Jason, and yeah, it's very iconic. So yeah, that was your number three. That is my number two. So we're back to you already, Ike. What's your number two?
Man, just moving right along. No, so I think my number two, and this one is definitely going to be controversial. It's the Jason Goes to Hell, the Final Friday mask.
Oh.
Honestly, like, because here's the thing. Obviously, the movie's not the greatest. I like the movie, but it kind of holds a special place in my heart. Kind of similar to Jason Takes Manhattan. It's so bad it's good. But the mask, honestly, I think the mask is really cool in this movie. And honestly, it kind of makes sense. This guy's been through hell and back. He's been wearing this mask pretty much the whole fucking time. And at this point, it's just fused to his face. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so it's super creepy. It's kind of gruesome. And honestly, I would think that a decaying, necrotic corpse that has been wearing a mask for, decades, is probably going to fuse to his face. So I feel like it's pretty realistic. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And, here's the thing. I'm not the hugest fan of Jason Goes to Hell, but when you put it up side by side to Jason X, I mean, I can't get on board with Jason X too much. And I hope I didn't spoil your number one. But
No,
anyway,
no.
okay. I don't know, man. Jason X, I can't get behind. But yeah, Jason goes to hell. It's okay. The best part to me is when you first watch it and that closing shot of Freddy Krueger's hand coming up and pulling the mask down and whatever and setting up the Freddy versus Jason movie. That's pretty iconic. So that brings us to our number ones, and my number one, this to me is the definitive Jason Voorhees. It is the mask, just the whole look, head to toe, from part 3. That is my definitive Jason. That is what I like. That is when I picture him in my head. The kind of the green shirt, the blue work pants, or whatever it is. That mask. I'm a huge fan of part 3. I love watching it now and seeing where they tried to force the 3D shots in it with different things. It always makes me chuckle. But that is my number one, because that is, like I said, in my head, that is my definitive Jason Voorhees, is from part 3. So, Ike, what do you got at number one?
So for me, the definitive Jason Voorhees is the Voorhees and the mask from the final chapter, which is part 4.
That is good.
Yep, I don't know, something in my brain, like when I watch the Friday 13th movies, like, and I'm probably gonna piss off a lot of people by saying this, I don't hate any of the Friday 13th movies, but when I watch the movies, I'm watching part 1, 2, and 3 to get to part 4 in my mind. I'm watching part 1, 2, 3 as stepping stones on the road to part 4, and I just love part 4. Part 4 is my definitive Jason. That's the Jason that I remember the most as a kid watching. I remember the machete to the head and the blood on the mask and the clothing, and it's just, that is what I would say is the definitive Jason in my mind. And not to mention, Corey Feldman's in the movie. You gotta love Corey Feldman.
Absolutely. Just that closing shot of it, die, die, die. He's just
Yes.
going nuts. I do like Corey Feldman. I hope hopefully whenever all the movie side of it, the movie rights are all dust settled and everything else. I've always hoped that Corey Feldman can reprise his role. I know they've done Tommy with other actors since, but I want to see Corey Feldman one more time in a Friday the 13th movie, and I hope we get it. I hope it happens, but who knows? But again, we got Crystal Lake to look forward to. I'm still super excited about that. I'm can't wait for information and stuff to start rolling out. And I'm telling you, if you everybody go read the interview on Fangoria about it with Brian Fuller. I'm telling you, I really think this is more a prequel to the new movie, the reboot movie. And I think there's going to be some jump and different things, and this is going to be an ongoing thing, and they can do whatever they want. So we might get a whole new hockey mask, and look that we might get to vote on in the future. So that's our top 3. So before we move on, let me get our plugs out of the way. I usually do at the top of the show, but I got excited about jumping into the top 3 and just went right past it. So, so wherever you're listening to us, make sure you subscribe, share our episodes, and then follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd at Listen to Screams. It's Listen, the number 2, and Screams. I'd like to give a couple thanks. We got to give a thanks to Monica, who does all of our research every week and keeps us informed. And Ike, we're going to give a shout out, give a little thanks to your wife, Kayla, because number one, she puts up with you somehow, and it allows you to do this. But she's also thrown us a whole list of ideas for a top 3, and many of those we'll explore in the future. So she's always there. The wives are always there to be sounding boards and to shoot ideas off of. So thanks to both of them for their support and their help on the show. And as always, we are talking movies, and I know some of these movies that we talk are old and a little dated, but spoiler warning. I'm sorry if we already spoiled anything out of the Friday the 13th before I gave a warning, but so be it. But a spoiler warning to the episode for anything we talk. So let's take a little break and pause for a moment, and when we come back, we're going to talk news and upcoming releases. Listen to Their Screams is now a Fangoria collaborator. Get 20% off your order at shop.fangoria.com by using the promo code LISTEN2SCREAMS at checkout. That is listen, the number 2, and screams. Or you can click the link in the show notes. All right, so not a lot of news and stuff to cover here. We got a couple birthdays. Heather, excuse me, I hope I don't butcher this name. Heather Matarazzo, Heather Matarazzo was born on November 10th. Of course, known for Scream 3 and the 2022 Scream. I believe she's Jamie Kennedy. What's Jamie Kennedy's character called? I can't. Why am I'm like
God,
watching these things and I can't remember. Anyway, she plays his sister. In there. So happy birthday to her. And then Maggie Gyllenhaal was born November 16th, known for her role in Donnie Darko and many, many other movies.
His name was Randy.
Randy, that's it. How can I not forget? It's like
Randy Meeks.
one of my favorite characters in those movies. I love Randy. And then an anniversary release date, of course, November 9th. I think we mentioned this last time, but once again, November 9th, 1984, Nightmare on Elm Street premiered. Very, very influential, groundbreaking, great movie. Absolutely love. I love all the Nightmare movies, but that first one is just epic. It's so great. Every time I rewatch it, I absolutely love it. So let's get moving on some upcoming releases between November 10th and November 16th. Available now streaming is Don't Worry, Darling. It came out on November 7th on HBO Max. 28 weeks later, is currently on Hulu. Night of the Living Dead 1968 is now currently on Hulu as well. And then, of course, Barbarian is still out there. We talked about that last time where I watched it. It is available on HBO Max. Go see that. That's a great movie. Absolutely. This has been a great year for horror movies, and Barbarian was a great one.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Coming up in theaters is The Friendship List. It's got a limited release. It says the friendship game follows a group. Excuse me, I guess it's called The Friendship Game. Follows a group of teens as they come across a strange object that tests their loyalties to each other and has increasingly destructive consequences the deeper into the game they go. It's got Peyton List from Cobra Kai, Brendan Meyer from The Guest. I don't know about this. I might give it a watch, but does not sound like it's in my vein. I haven't watched the trailer for this yet, but have you heard anything about whatever it is, the Friendship Game or the Friendship List, whichever one it is?
Whichever one this one is. So I have heard about it. Again, I don't know if it's like what is it? Facebook's like listening to me or something, but I guess it knows that I like horror films somehow. It is called The Friendship Game. I did check that. It comes out Friday. Well, yeah, this Friday, I guess. So it's the day after this episode comes out. So yeah, I did look it up and I did kind of go through like the synopsis and kind of checked it out, the trailer. I will say this much: it does kind of seem more like in the teeny vein of like horror movies. Weirdly enough, it's not rated right now, which is kind of odd. But maybe, just maybe, that not rated sequence will actually give us a pretty decent horror movie. Maybe it'll be pretty bloody and gory. So I'll give it a shot. I'll always give it a shot.
I do like Peyton List. I think she's been great in Cobra Kai. So yeah, that's a plus. So a couple other notes coming up. Ike, have you seen the Terrifier 2 team, right? Have a new movie in production called Stream. This movie has got so many people in it. Just a few of the names is Terry Kaiser from Friday the 13th Part 2. Felissa Rose is going to be in it. Jeffrey Combs from Reanimator. Danielle Harris from Hatchet and the Halloween 4 and 5. Tony Todd from Candyman, of course. And, of course, David Howard Thornton. Art the Clown is in it. And it says when Roy and Elaine Keenan realize their family is drifting apart, they decide that something needs to be done. Roy forces his work to take a back seat, and they seize the opportunity to recreate a vacation from their past. A peaceful stay in a quaint hotel is just what they need. However, that is not what is in store for them. With 4 deranged murderers patrolling the seemingly mundane halls, the odds are definitely not in the Keenan family's favor. Roy must fight for his life and those of his family as their simple weekend getaway truly turns into a vacation to die for. And there's not a lot of information. It's getting a lot of hype. They put it out there. Of course, it's coming off the heat of Terrifier 2 and how popular that is. I'm telling you, with the people in it and knowing that it comes from the team, the Terrifier 2, production crew and producer and everything, man, I cannot wait till this movie's out. I'm already sold. You didn't even have to tell me what it's about. Just the names alone tied to it, I'm sold. I cannot wait to watch it. And I can't wait till we get a trailer.
No, yeah, absolutely. I agree. Like you said, I mean, you put these people together into any kind of a movie process. David Howard Thornton, I'd watch anything with him in it at this juncture. I think he's so cool as Art's Clown. So I'm definitely willing to watch anything he's in. But no, absolutely. They got a fantastic team. I mean, literally, you could just go through this IMDb and it's just got so many people on this project. I mean, it's incredible. So yeah, 100%. I'll be watching this movie. Hopefully, it gets a limited release when it does come out. Hopefully AMC and all these other theaters have finally learned that this production team that gave them Terrifier 2, which I would argue is probably one of the best, if not the best horror movie of this year, is coming out with another movie. So put that shit in theaters because it's gonna make you buku bucks.
Well,
But yeah, I'll be
yeah,
watching it.
I mean, when you got a team that took a movie they made for $250,000 and it just crossed making $10 million box office, I mean, I think that gives you a little bit of I don't want to say pool, but a little bit of, opening some eyes. So hopefully, yeah, they get lots of opportunities. And if you want to keep up on this movie and what's happening with it, you can follow them on Twitter and Instagram. It's at Stream Franchise. In other news, Paramount just announced that Scream 6, which is the working title for the movie, is now being released on March 10th, 2023. I believe that date has actually moved in from what it was before. So I'm pretty excited about that. It's got Melissa Barrera, Jasmine Savoy Brown, Jenna Ortega, Dermot Mulroney, Josh Segarra. It says the Scream saga continues with the 4 survivors of the Ghostface killings as they leave Woodsboro behind and start a fresh chapter. It's my understanding that, I don't know if this is confirmed or what it is, but the talk is, I guess, is this movie set in New York? Have you heard that, Ike?
I actually haven't heard too much about this, but I did hear that it's not going to be like anywhere near where where it was originally supposed to be.
They've been very tight-lipped. We haven't got. I mean, a lot of fans are in uproar because they thought we would have got a trailer or a teaser or something by now. We've got nothing, so it doesn't matter. I mean, I'll watch it no matter what. I'm going to love it no matter what. I know there was all the controversy with Nev Campbell not being on board. There's still a part of me that deep in my guts, like, I don't know. You might want to take that with a grain of salt. I got a hunch, but of course I was the guy that thought Matthew Lillard was going to be the last one, and I would have bet money on it, and it didn't turn out. So I don't know. Maybe I'm not the guy to listen to, but I mean, got to be a hell of a swerve if Sidney Prescott is the killer in this next movie, or dies early, or who knows what. So maybe not, but who knows? But again, it's a Scream movie. It's going to be fun. It's going to be what I like to watch. So I can't wait. I'm glad, I love it. They moved the date in a little bit, so we don't have to wait quite as long. So, and a couple other real quick news stories that I just came across before we started recording. You can check our Twitter for a trailer that we retweeted for the movie Witch. It looks like it's a pretty cool film. They reached out to us and asked if we could show them a little love and support. So we're throwing that out there. They don't have a release date yet, but you can follow them on Twitter at WitchMovie1. It's a time period piece. I think it's set in the 1500s. It looks very, very well made from the trailer. So again, go check our Twitter feed and you can watch that trailer. And I also just saw that they've announced. Here we go. Here's my drop of Halloween Ends. That Halloween Ends now has a digital and DVD Blu-ray release. It is coming out digitally for purchase on November 15th, and then DVD and Blu-ray on December 27th. And apparently this has featurettes, and apparently it will have deleted and extended scenes. So I'm very, very curious to see what was on the cutting room floor and what they have in it, and how it would have changed the overall view of the movie. I'm telling you, if there's something in this, an alternate ending or a deleted scene or something that would have totally reshaped it and made me like it, I'm going to be a little pissed off that it got cut out. So, but yeah, I look for that. Of course I'll buy it because I own all the other movies. So have to buy it. But yeah, so that's it for the news. Let's catch our breath, take a break. We're churning right through, and when we come back, we're going to do our movie review for this week for All Jacked Up and Full of Worms. So stick around.
You want to do some work for this? Worms. Worms. Yeah, bro. You fucked up. Where the fuck are the worms? What the hell are you?
All right, we're back, and we are going to review All Jacked Up and Full of Worms. It's a not rated movie. It's out there. Watch it. And Ike, we watched this. I mean, I don't know. I don't have a whole lot to say on this. What did you think of All Jacked Up and Full of Worms?
Oh Lord. So All Jacked Up and Full of Worms. Let me preface it by saying that if it were possible, it earned its not rated rating.
Yeah.
If that's a possibility, I know that not rated isn't really a rating that you earn per se, but here's the deal: Jacked Up and Full of Worms, it definitely isn't your traditional, what I would say a lot of people consider horror. A lot of people consider horror to be your typical, slasher films, your paranormal movies, your whatever else there might be, exploitation film, or whatever genre it is that you like in horror. There are plenty of genres in horror that do not even come close to describing Jacked Up and Full of Worms. So if you're not super into what I would consider to be like pretty like obscure horror, Jacked Up and Full of Worms may not be the movie for you. But here's what I'll say about Jacked Up Full of Worms as a concept. The concept was good. The concept of just having shock, right?
Yep.
A lot of people forget that shock is probably one of the most important features of a horror film, right?
Yep.
Is what you are watching shocking you? Is what you are watching asking you to ask yourself, why the fuck am I watching this? Because a good horror movie at some point will make you think that. And the reason why is because horror is about the exploitation of its viewers. That is the point of horror, in my opinion. So I will say that all Jacked Up and Full of Worms did that. All Jacked Up and Full of Worms definitely exploited me as a viewer. It definitely made me uncomfortable, and it definitely shocked me. Was the movie good? Not really. There were just a lot of things that I think that didn't make sense. I feel like, have you ever seen the movie Mr. Bean's Holiday?
Yes.
Okay, so in Mr. Bean's Holiday, Willem Dafoe's character makes like this really fucking weird movie where it's just shots of himself.
Yeah.
I kind of felt like this was the equivalent in like the horror universe, that the guys who made All Jacked Up and Full of Worms watched Mr. Bean's Holiday and was like, let's just make a movie with just the most random shit that we could do. So yeah, that's kind of how I felt. I just thought it was kind of a bunch of random elements put together. Obviously, there was some story there. I don't know. I'm not huge into movies like this to begin with. Like, I like some shocking movies and things like that, weird movies. It's just, I really thought that, like, I kept waiting for it to make sense or kept waiting for it to get better, but it just got weirder and it didn't really get better. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I agree. I will precurse it by saying, yeah, absolutely. This is not my style of movie. And I know I've said that before about other, but it's just not, right? I'm going into it pretty much predestined that I'm just not going to enjoy it as much as some people. Again, some people may like it. This may be their cup of tea. It's not for me. You absolutely hit the one word that I had in big old bold letters in my notes was shock, right? You could tell this movie was made for shock value, right? It's not made. It wasn't meant to be cute or fun, but it was made to be bizarre and weird. It's like, with the characters, ingesting or whatever these worms to get to go on a trip. It's like they were trying to they wanted you to try to feel what that trip was like. And it did. The one thing it did accomplish was that making you feel uneasy. And right. And that does work, right? I mean, there's something to be said for that. But I did felt it was just it was very random, and it didn't really have a lot of direction or meaning. I know it felt like they were trying to touch in points of touching on elements of what addicts experience, right? And how sometimes they're almost, I'm not an addict, right? I'm not a drug user, so it's hard. I can't relate, but you hear that sometimes they feel like they feel like they're almost prisoner like in their own bodies, right? That sometimes it's like you're not fully in control, right? The drugs take over, and I feel like they tried to touch on that, explore it. I don't know if they were really that successful, but it again. I will say I didn't really enjoy it, right? I did not. I felt I wanted it to end, right? And again, some of that is wholeheartedly on me because it wasn't going to be one going in that I liked because it's just not. It's not my style of horror or style of movie. So it was already fighting an uphill battle. But again, I didn't care for it. Was not really impressed. I cannot in any way, shape, or form ever see me rewatching this movie. I just don't. I just don't see it. Right. I don't. But it is what it is. I believe the director, the writer, the whole team behind. I think this is their first outing. So it's like they tried to take a big swing, and it feels like maybe it just came up a little short of clearing the wall. So. But again, like we always say, go out and give it a try. It's It's out. It came out November 8th. It's available on Screenbox to watch. So go give it a view. Like we said, we always plug Screenbox. We love Screenbox. Go subscribe and give it a watch. See what you think. We'd love to hear your feedback. But I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to give it my rating. I gave it a 2 screams out of 5. It kind of bordered on me potentially being my first 1 scream movie.
Right.
But I gave it 2 because like you said, it does exploit that uneasy feeling. So I gave him a little bit for that. So I'm giving it 2 screams out of 5.
Yeah, I would have to agree. When you look at the screams, like there's the ratings, like you said, I'm not quite ready to give this any movie a 1. I've not yet watched a movie that has made me feel like a 1. And also this movie, it wasn't middle of the road for me. I was very clearly not entertained for most of the movie. There were some parts that I was like, yeah, that was pretty cool. But like you said, I felt like this movie is made for somebody, and that somebody is just simply not me. So obviously, if you're out there, you want to watch it, 100% go watch it. Support the release. Support these people, because here's the deal. I saw a lot of ingenuity in this film. I did. So I do want to see these creators make more. I would love to see them have their take on a slasher villain, or have their take on a paranormal film, or hell, any other horror movie that they want to make. Yeah, so I do want people to support them, and I will probably go out and buy this movie because I do want to support them. It's just this movie wasn't for me.
Yeah, everybody keep in mind there's a lot of really great filmmakers who have made a lot of really shitty movies. So
Yes.
and this again, I'm pretty sure this is their first outing. So it's who knows what's going to happen, right? They could develop. They're getting their feet wet. So yeah, I mean, support them, keep an eye on them, and everything else. Just like you said, not the movie for me either. But we're sitting here saying that we haven't felt like we've the need to give anybody a 1 scream rating yet, to go that low. But next episode, we're going to watch Thanksgiving, and we're going to review that. That might completely change our view, because everything I have seen about this movie is I don't know. But the thing is, I keep seeing the description that it's one of those movies that's so bad that it's good, or that you enjoy it. That's right in my wheelhouse. So we'll see what happens. And but the movie, from what I understand, was made to be bad, right? They didn't have any preconceived notions that they were making anything. So, but seeing as how it's November, we're going to give it a watch. There's 2 Thanksgiving movies, right? There's Thanksgiving, and then there's Thanksgiving 3. They skipped 2. I guess they're trying to be, clever there and humorous. But let's just stick to the first one, right? Let's don't overdo it in this episode. Maybe we'll do 3 in the future, but seeing as how it's November, the month of Thanksgiving, that's what we're going to review next episode, Thanksgiving. So it might make you rethink that, not feeling like giving anything a 1 scream rating, Ike. We'll see what happens. I do know.
I'm just looking at the cover of this. I'm just in shock right now.
Yes. Is it the cover where it plugs on there that like it literally shows breasts and like within the first minute of the movie or something like that? They've put that in there as a selling point of the movie.
Well, that's one of them. One of them just says "gobble gobble, motherfucker," which is great. But yes, the other one says "warning: boobs in the first second."
Oh, second. There we go. And spoiler alert for everybody and for you, Ike. From what I've seen, I haven't watched the movie yet, but from what I've seen, the boobs are on the turkey. So we'll see what happens with that. I don't know that for sure because, like I said, I've not seen the movie, but we'll see. That's what we're reviewing next, Thanksgiving. So, like I said, it has been a hectic week. I feel like we just slammed through this episode, but that's okay. That might be a byproduct of the wild week I've had so far, and that everything has just been full bore. So naturally, maybe it was just going to carry over to this episode. So anyway, thanks for listening. Thanks for supporting. Wherever you do, make sure you subscribe to us and share the episodes. Follow us on those social media outlets we spoke earlier. You heard the ad earlier. We are a Fangoria collaborator. So you can go to Fangoria and shop and use the code Listen2Screams. Get 20% off your order. That does count towards new subscribers to the magazine. So go pick yourself up a subscription to Fangoria. Use that code. Support us, support them. It is all good. Ike, before we get out of here, got anything you want to say?
You know what? It's almost turkey time, guys. I'm super excited for Thanksgiving. I'll continue talking about it, but I'm excited, man.
That's right. Gobble, gobble, motherfucker. I think we got to say that every episode in November now. We got to somewhere in there. I mean, Thanksgiving may not do anything else for us. We'll see next episode. But I think we have to use the line "gobble gobble, motherfucker," because I like that. I need a shirt that says that, and I'd wear that to every Thanksgiving dinner I ever go to. So I like that. But everybody already thinks I'm a freak anyway, so who cares if I wear a "gobble gobble, motherfucker" shirt? But yeah, like I said that last episode, I'm all about a holiday where the primary factor is eating, right? So bring it on. I love Thanksgiving food. Love it. The more the better. I know we're a couple weeks out, but I'm already dying. I'm ready. So, all right. Well, that's it. Like I said, next episode, Thanksgiving, gobble, gobble, motherfuckers. Until then, wherever you go, whatever you do, be good, be safe, and have many pleasant nightmares.